also going out to all my friends that know that they asked for this song.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. If you just tuned in around 9 o'clock, you've got me, Babz Rawls Ivy. This is Lovebabz, Lovetalk. I'm delighted today because I got an old friend in studio talking about something that I know a little something about because I got this scholarship back in 1981.
No kidding.
So Jeff
That's
Alpert is
wonderful.
here from the New Haven Scholarship Fund. Welcome.
Good morning.
How
Good morning.
are you?
Babz, I'm really good. Thanks so much.
It's nice to see you. And, you keep me in the loop every year. Every year you call me and you say, we're doing the scholarship. You send me the press release. You send me pictures and I run it.
Well, that's as much as we can do at this point. I'd like to do more. I'd like to invite you to our ceremony. And, it's this Sunday.
Yes.
And over at
Is it
Career
still
High
in
School.
it? Oh, is that career?
It's a career now.
Okay.
We
Used to
need
be
a-
at the church.
We need a venue that has some air conditioning because people were real uncomfortable at the church, even though it was Gene Lovell's church.
Okay. All right. So tell me about the New Haven Scholarship Fund. How old is this thing?
Well, it started in 1959, so we're celebrating our 60th anniversary.
Whoa.
And during that time, we've given out more than 9,000 scholarships and over $9 million in scholarship money to kids who graduated from the public schools in the city of New Haven.
Really?
So we're very proud of that. We're very proud of, continuing a legacy that was started by a young woman who taught at Hill House and realized that there were kids there that had the academic ability to go to college but didn't have the financial resources.
Mm-hmm. And so what kinds of amounts do you give out?
This year, the top scholarship is $1,900, and this year we'll be giving out over $300,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
I like to say $350,000 because it sounds bigger.
I like that too, third of a million. So, who contributes to this fund? Like, how does the money continuously become available for you to do this?
Well, there's about 1,300 people that are on our mailing list, and so we solicit them twice a year, once in the fall and then once again in the spring, and our donors have been very generous. We try and recruit new donors as time goes on because some donors don't give anymore because of the fact they may be on fixed income or they may have passed away. So we're always looking for new sources of income, and they've been very generous. This year, they almost doubled the amount of money that they had in previous years. So,
Really?
yeah.
And
so,
do you attribute that to anything? What's the reason?
well, I think that what we've done is we were an under the radar.
Yes, you are.
Yes, and people know a lot about the New Haven Promise, but they don't know much about the New Haven Scholarship Fund. And so we're trying to become more present in terms of the community, in terms of our ability to be able to be on the radio or to acquire a billboard or to be able to carry our message forward as much as we can, to be able to have people understand the great work that's being done for lots of kids in the city.
Absolutely. Okay, so you just retired or have been retired or retiring. You
were right the first time. I did retire after about 33 years at the Sound School.
I love this. My daughter graduated from the Sound School.
The Sound School is a great venue for kids who, like hands-on learning, like small classrooms, and who like a waterside environment.
Yeah, she loved it. And she was in the agricultural. I don't think people realize there's an agricultural component because she was in the ag program, and they had like the farm out there in Hamden and the whole bit.
Yeah, they do. It's a very small portion of our curriculum, but it's a very valuable one. And so, we get kids from the city of New Haven who want to learn more about agriculture, want to learn about animals, want to learn about maybe being a veterinarian or veterinarian assistant. So I think that we do a real good job in helping kids to be able to, if that's their interest, be able to move forward with that.
So you retired from there, and now you're committing to this full time, to the New Haven Scholarship Fund, or
No, absolutely.
okay,
Absolutely. It feels good. I mean, to be able to give back. I guess the story is that for all my life, I've been helping kids to get ready for their next level. Teaching kids in high school is getting them prepared for whatever comes next. And for most of them, it's either college or technical school or the military or a job. And so I feel as though the next evolutionary step for me is to be able to provide resources for them, for those kids who want to go to college or technical school or university. So it's very rewarding. I mean, to be able to give out $250,000 to kids, you know, who are very grateful, who have
any bit of money that you get is a blessing, because college is damn near out of reach.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, I guess one of our goals is to level the playing field. And I mean, we have a long way to go to level that playing field, because in fact, there are people who have lots of wealth, and you know, they're even buying their places in colleges. So to level that playing field becomes tougher and tougher.
That was well said. So, what's the requirements for these scholarships? I don't remember how I got this scholarship. I think I applied.
You have to apply.
Yes.
And you have to have, you know, you have to show us your grades. There's a economic cutoff of about $70,000. So people who are above that income level become not eligible unless there are extenuating circumstances. You have to have an essay. You have to show us your grades. You have to have a recommendation, and then you're personally interviewed. Every kid who has applied for a scholarship, and there are 210 kids this year who are going to get scholarships, must have a personal interview. And so we have a crew of individuals go out to all the high schools. And this is my first year doing it, because every year before that, I was teaching. I was working. Right. So it was great to meet the kids. It's great to talk with them, and it's an eye-opening experience for those people who have no contact with high school kids who have a dream, have a mission, have a desire to want to make a better life for themselves and their family.
Do you do multi-year? Like if a kid says, you know what, I'm a freshman, I want to apply again, sophomore year or junior. Like, is there a cutoff? Can people do that?
No, there are continuing scholarships. So
really,
right. And June 15th, for those of you, and if there's anybody out there who completed your first year successfully, June 15th is the cutoff date for continuing scholarships. So get them in.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to be out.
Oh, wow.
So,
and so what is it? Is it Greater New Haven, or is it just New Haven proper?
No, Jean Lovell, when she set this up, realized that it was the city of New Haven that needed the extra help. And so it's just kids who go to public school in New Haven and are residents in New Haven. So a kid who comes from out of district would not be eligible, even though they may have graduated from Cross or Hillhouse.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
So it's specific to New Haven.
Wow.
No,
and so now, is your goal, Jeff, to sort of raise the profile of New Haven Scholarship, or what do you like? What's the vision to make it more known, or because you know with popularity comes the influx of more applications and requests?
Well, we certainly look forward to the fact that there are more kids who are going to apply, because more kids are qualified. But we're also looking forward to raising the awareness, as you said, our public persona, so that we can hopefully convince people who are not on board or who don't know much about us to give a little. Because if everybody gave a little, we'd have a lot.
Okay.
I mean, for example, if every teacher in the city of New Haven, right, were to give $5 every 2 weeks, and there are 2,000 of them, right, we'd have an extra $200,000.
Whoa!
So to be able to give out. And the great thing about New Haven Scholarship Fund is we're all volunteer, so that every dollar that's donated goes directly to kids.
Okay.
There's no overhead costs. We have no office. We have no lighting bills. So we have one part-time person whose salary is paid for the interest on our endowment.
Yeah, somebody's got to.
Right, that puts together
keep something going, open the door.
But everybody here takes a role in terms of being able to make this organization function as well as it does.
So do you work closely with the New Haven Promise, or do you? I mean, I know you are aware of them.
Right, peripherally.
Okay.
They help us in terms of data. They would
okay, that's good.
Right, it is, because in fact they track the kids, and a lot of the kids who are Promise scholars are also kids who get money from us, because Promise only gives them tuition.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have room and board costs, they can also apply to us. So some of them are multi. You know,
Okay.
they get the New Haven Promise, and they also get the New Haven Scholarship Fund.
Because I've had them on. I've had Miss
Pat Melton.
Pat Mellon. I had her on maybe a couple of months ago, and we were talking about the New Haven Promise, and it's been like a decade since they've been here, and it's amazing because it just feels like they arrived yesterday. You know,
Yeah,
this whole concept.
They've done really well for themselves, but they also have, backing of Yale, and that's very helpful. And Green Foundation's been very supportive of them also.
Mm-hmm. So you have a board, because I was on your website.
We do have a board. Yes, we do. Yeah, a board of volunteers for sure.
Yes. And so they're tasked with what?
Well, they're multitasked. I mean, for now, we divided up into committees so that, we have an outreach committee. We have a committee that's going to be in charge of doing the award ceremony. So there's some people who are going to be doing the refreshments, some people are going to be doing the seating, some people are going to be doing the ushering. So that's one aspect of it. And then in October 3rd of this year, we're going to have our 60th anniversary.
And what are you going to do for that?
We're going to have a dinner, and we're going to probably have entertainment from local high school jazz bands for soft jazz. And we're going to have some politicians, we hope. I've reached out to most of our national politicians, and maybe Rosa DeLauro or maybe Dick Blumenthal. We'll see who responds, but they haven't committed yet because their calendars aren't set.
Yeah,
so
and there's a lot going on.
So there's a lot going on. It seems that way.
We've got a president in the White House who's run amok.
He's running us amok too. I wish it was just him amok.
Oh Lord. So that sounds good. So is this going to be like a fundraiser anniversary thing?
A component of it is fundraising.
Because I'll buy a ticket.
Would you buy a ticket?
Yeah, I'll buy a ticket.
All right, and you're going to come on over?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
That's what I'm hitting at. I'm like, okay, do I buy a ticket? Where's it at?
Well, there will be more information as we get closer to that date. We're going to do a save the date, and that'll be probably sent out by June 15th, or maybe a little bit later, and then we'll do formal invitations. But there's only 100 slots.
Okay.
So
wow,
I'm gonna save one for you.
Save one for me.
No, I got one for you.
So now that you're doing this full time, how much of your time is spent doing this?
I couldn't really categorize, the amount of hours that I do because it's sporadic. I mean, there are other things that I do also. So,
like what? What are you doing?
Well, like I garden. I
Yay.
spend a lot of time in the garden. Spend a lot of time.
Don't you live in Westville?
I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do. And so I have a beautiful garden, and watch the birds every once in a while because I have a lot of feeders out. And I also sail. So.
Oh. Well, of course, if you work at Sound School, you have to do a little something by the water.
Right. There's a lot of water time.
Yes.
There's a lot of water. Well, my father got me interested in that when I was very, very young. So I used to sail with him. And
do you have a boat?
Yes, actually, I do have a boat.
Okay. No, I have good friends who have boats and who sail. So, and
we're over at the New Haven
big
Yacht
deal.
Club.
Yes.
Well, yeah, so I spend time in that, and also have my son is in California, so we spend time with him, and my daughter's in D.C., and I spend time, going down there and helping her. She just bought a house, so I help her with her gardening.
Oh.
Yeah, it's real nice.
So you're a very youthful dad, so.
Well, I got a lot of energy. I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I have enough energy to be able to do these things.
That's a wonderful thing. So the New Haven Scholarship Fund was founded by this woman who was a school teacher at Hill House.
Yeah.
And wanted to specifically help children in New Haven. So when you're doing this work, Jeff, do you have relationships with surrounding universities and colleges, or can people take their money wherever they want? Like, is there a limit?
That's interesting because, in fact, the New Haven Promise limits the amount of money, or limits the areas where a kid can go to school. So it's got to be in Connecticut. We don't stipulate any of that. So a kid can go to any school, right, throughout the country, and we'll support that. And the interesting thing about it is that we have kids that will go to universities in Michigan or in Florida, and so we don't categorize, the place that they have to go. They're not unlimited.
Okay.
So that's good. I like that part.
I like that part too, because I took my New Haven Scholarship Fund money to North Carolina. That's where I went to school.
Well, yes, and you wouldn't have been able to do that if it was the New Haven Promise.
No,
for sure.
I wouldn't have. I'd have been like here, I would have had to spend it here. So So that's a wonderful thing. So do you see these kids when they come back? Do they check back in?
Not usually. I mean, I'm not really familiar. Most of them, I'm familiar with some of the kids from the sound school, so some of them check back in. But the kids who are across or Amistad or Hill House, I don't see them at all. But that we've never had a reunion for those kids. Usually they have the reunion at their school with their schools. And we haven't been invited
because that might be a good pool of tap into money. Like when y'all get your first jobs out of college, throw some money back over to the New Haven Scholarship Fund.
Well, we got a grant so that they're absolutely right. We got a grant from the Community Foundation that allowed us to go and reach back to some of those kids. And so we have a list of about 1,300 of them we have emails, active emails, and so we're starting to solicit them to be able to give back. And as I said before, it's not about giving us a huge amount, but if everybody gives a little, then we end up with a lot.
Absolutely. I'm going to make a donation because I think that was my first scholarship, the New Haven Scholarship Fund. Back in 1981.
And I didn't even know that. And I've known you for all these years, but never knew that was part of your past.
It was. I was like, wow. I was like, this is still around. I know this. So our good friend Ken Tulo, our good friend between us.
Shout out to Kenny.
Hey Ken. I don't know if he's up in California, but you're honoring his father.
Yes, they are. There's a scholarship his father passed recently.
Yes.
Somewhere in the beginning of the year, and so. His parents and he felt as though it would be an honor to him since he went to Hill House and he was a big star at Hill House.
Yep.
He was a big basketball star and was always committed to education. And so they started a scholarship in his honor. And so that'll be presented. And I think his mom and his sister will present that scholarship at the award ceremony.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a loving way to continue legacy and memory and make a difference in community, I think.
Oh, definitely. It has all those components.
Yes.
I 100% agree.
So I look forward to seeing the kid that gets this money, to get that scholarship, and make sure there's a good picture taken. I'll run it in the inner city.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I actually sent you something to say, come on down.
Yes.
So if you can send somebody, that'd be great.
That would be nice. But make sure I get a press release or something so I could run it. And if you take pictures, send them to me.
Okay.
That'd be wonderful.
We'll definitely take pictures.
Just in case I don't get there on a Sunday.
Okay. Well, it's at 5 o'clock. It's later in the afternoon.
But I still, I support you because I run everything. Every year I run whatever you tell me to run because you give me that one call. So I was like, come on this year and talk to me on the air.
I'm grateful for all that. You know that.
No, I know. I don't.
Because together, the desire here is to make a difference.
Yes.
Make a difference in New Haven, make it a more educated community, make an alternate path for kids to say that, college is viable. I can go to technical school. And I can, get close to living my dream, or at least pursue it.
So talk a little bit about how did you get into education? Why did you become a teacher?
That's a very funny story. I wasn't originally going to be a teacher. I was going to be a dentist. But I really didn't have the academic acumen in order to make that dream happen. And it was the time of the Vietnam War, so that ages me. And I wasn't going to go because, in fact, I wasn't a believer, and that was a fight that we should be fighting. And so I was looking for an option, and one of the options was to be an educator. If you're an educator, it was draft deferred. And so I took an extra semester in order to get my teaching certificate and to do my student teaching, and started teaching at St. Peter's High School in Staten Island.
Wow.
And I liked it. I mean, I could relate to the kids like me, I liked them, I liked the subject matter, and it just fit for me. And so nearly 40 years later, I can say that one little stone is what turned me in the direction of an education. If it hadn't been for the Vietnam War, I don't know where I would have been.
Wow. That's a good story.
Yeah, I guess it is.
No, it is. That's a good story. Because, it says that young people, that anybody can change the trajectory of their life. You don't know what'll change that, right? Any little small thing can have a big impact. And you became a teacher, and you stayed with being a teacher until you just retired from it.
Yeah, just this June as I retired.
And so what was it about Sound School that drew you in?
That's another good story. So I graduated from Hill House, and my favorite teacher there was a gentleman named George Foote. And he taught contemporary issues. And the reason I liked it so much is because it was present. It was what we were learning about. It was the election time. We learned about the parties. We learned about the difference between communism and socialism. And I still have a book that someone said that it should publish as my doctoral thesis. It's about that thick. And so I really enjoyed him. And probably about after I graduated college and I came back to New Haven, he was he headed up HSC, and he was one of the original founders of HSC. And so I got a job there. However, there were budgetary issues, as there are always in the city of New Haven, and so last hired, first fired. And so I left that job and went on, did something in aquaculture. Came back, I was teaching at Notre Dame High School, and we had a snow day. And during that snow day, I went to Jimmy's because I love seafood, and he happened to be there. And he said, I'm starting a new school. Would you like to learn more about it? And so I said, sure. And from that day forward is when I started at the Sound School.
Wow.
So that's a really good story.
That's a good story.
Goes all the way back to high school.
Yes. Boy, your life is rich with connection.
Well, I've been in New Haven all my life. I mean, my family has been here. I'm third generation.
Really?
My kids are fourth generation. And,
wow.
You know, we're almost indigenous.
So you've seen a lot go on in this city.
Yes, I have.
You've seen a lot of administrations. You've seen a lot of superintendents. You've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've seen a lot, and some of them have been wonderful, and some of them have been marginal.
Do you think we're in the most challenging times right now?
I think we are. In terms of education?
Yes.
Well, I was just looking at New Haven Independent this morning, and it seems like it's getting more challenging.
Yeah.
Because there was a big protest, about education and the superintendent and the deficit. So yeah, there's some significant challenges to the city of New Haven to be able to make education more viable for us. I was talking to the ex-principal of the Sound School just yesterday, and he said that only 17% of high school graduates ever make it through college.
Really?
Yeah, that's nationwide.
Really?
Yeah, so I think, well, I mean, the cream of the crop is always siphoned off to the private schools.
Yeah.
And the private schools are booming. Why? Because they can afford it, and because, in fact, they want to separate their kids from kids who may have, significant learning issues or may have behavioral issues. So the fight is ongoing, and we've got to do things that will get our kids, as I said before, to be better players in that educational field.
Are you hopeful about the direction of public education?
I hope. That's a really interesting question. I'm always hopeful, but I'm skeptical.
Okay.
Skeptical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the public education system, a lot of people have come through and done quite well. I think we're in a real sort of crossroads now about what to do, how to do it, and how to sort of address the needs of kids from all sorts of backgrounds and the like. And
right.
How do you do that successfully? I think I've been looking at this across the country, and that seems to be everybody's struggling with how to pay for education, how to provide education. I mean, I just read a piece the other day about, I think it was in the Washington Post, about how we have to stop shaming kids for lunch money stuff, which.
Well, that's a basic, right? I mean, a basic right
yes,
is to have lunch.
To have lunch, and then to tell a kid, your parents haven't paid the bill, so we can't give you lunch.
Right, I remember that story for sure.
And I thought, why are adults talking to children like that? Like, that's a child. Like, and feed the kid and deal with the other stuff at the back end.
Well, hopeful is a guy like Ray Dalio, who's a multi-billionaire from Greenwich, who just gave $434 million to the state of Connecticut for preschool education.
Wow.
That's the hope. I mean, there are lots of people in the state of Connecticut who have lots of money. And, I think it's time for them to ante up and to start to think about, the kind of country that they want to have, the kind of state that they want to have, and the kind of opportunities they'd like to give to other kids.
And the workforce they want to have.
And the workforce they want to have, an educated workforce, for sure. So, I mean, men like Ray Dalio, who's given back, that should be a template for individuals to say, I want to do something positive for the state of Connecticut also, or for the city, or, for Hartford, or for Bridgeport, or for New Haven. So, I'm hopeful that maybe some of those people will come around and make a generous donation so that education could be leveled, so that education for the private and public schools could be leveled off.
I think you're absolutely right. And for those of us who are not those people, we can give to the New Haven Scholarship Fund.
We certainly can, and I would encourage anybody, who would like to make a difference in kids' lives who have worked really hard. And these are the kids who have proven themselves. So if you want to help a kid, make a step up, I encourage you to do that.
So how can somebody do what Ken Tulo and his family did? How can they do that in memoriam to a loved one?
Go online.
Mm-hmm.
Go to our website.
What is it?
NewHavenScholarshipFund.org,
Mm-hmm.
and all the information is there. And if in fact you need to talk to someone about that, there's a link to me, and I will be more than happy to talk with anybody who would like to do something in memoriam for anybody that they love and care about, and feel that education is something that would be valuable to the person who in fact has passed away.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't require millions of dollars. Like, people can give what is in their means to give, because a little bit goes a long way.
As I said before, if every one of the teachers in the city of New Haven were to give $5 every 2 weeks, I'd have an extra $200,000 to give away to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Every high school has got kids who are gonna profit from this. So, for example, Wilbercross the kids in Wilbercross, they're gonna get $73,000. There's 57 of them.
Wow.
So, so wouldn't it be in the best interest of the faculty in Cross to say, hey, listen, here's what our kids are getting. Maybe we just kick in $5 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the kids, instead of getting a $1,900 scholarship, maybe they get a $2,500 scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're looking at.
I like that. So now, part of your role you're the chair of the board, the president of the board?
Yeah.
That's all right. Say
it's both. Yeah, some people think that's better that the title be the chair, but at this point in time, my title is the president. My mother would be very proud.
Yes, she should be, and rightly so. So is your job to sort of go around and have these kinds of conversations with people?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, part of what I feel is my responsibility is to go and find funders.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been fairly successful at it. And on my own, I probably...
Well, you have a pleasing manner.
Well, I probably... Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Well, I also have a strong belief, that this is an important mission, that this is an important thing for the city of New Haven. It's an important thing for the country. Because Gene Lovell's idea was that the more educated people are, the greater chance we have for world peace.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So
that should be on every banner that you have. Like, it should be on every piece of paper. Everything that goes out should have that.
Well, I think that you're right, and that's a good idea. So I think we'll carry that forward.
I like that.
Thank you.
Seriously, that is a wonderful sentiment, particularly in this day and age when we are grappling with why the need for education.
Yeah, the more educated you are, the more you can see through the BS.
Yeah, don't I know it?
Makes it
don't
tough.
I know it?
Yeah,
don't I know it? And it's a well-educated populace is, I think, the path to world peace.
For sure.
I really do believe that, because I think when you know better, you do better. In the words of Maya Angelou,
I like
you know
that.
better, you do better.
You do better.
Yeah.
I like that too.
And so, and I think kids deserve a fighting chance. Because when we dumb down America, I mean, that does not bode well for anybody. And I'm aging, you're aging, everybody's aging, and if we're not educating folks to a higher level, all things can happen to a world when people are not well educated.
Well, I look at what the Senate and the House of Representatives of the state of Connecticut just did is they passed a bill that says that they should be teaching about climate change in all the public schools.
Yes.
That's a great step forward.
I think so.
It's not, it moves out of denial and into a place where kids may be motivated to do something about it.
Yes.
So maybe
and to teach Black studies, Black and Latino studies, so that people have a sense of a culture and other people's contribution to the world, so that we can level and we can hopefully stop this, the racism, and at least make a real dent in what people understand other people are like, or their history or their culture, so that we can move forward together with a shared destiny.
But that's the dream.
That's the dream.
That's the dream.
So, and it's still a dream. It's a damn good dream.
And it's got a lot of work. It's got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of work to do.
So, what would you tell young people who are thinking about education as a ministry, as a career, as a calling?
Well, having been in the education business for as long as I have, and felt as though I made a meaningful difference in people's lives, it's not only rewarding personally, but it's also makes a difference in your city. It makes a difference in, the perspective that you have about the world that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching. I love the kids. I don't love some of the administrative stuff, but interaction with young kids and young minds is not only good for them, but it elevates you too. It makes you a better person.
Mm-hmm. Do you stay on top of current events? I mean, are you one of those people that you stay learning, you stay connected to what's going on in the world? Because I know teachers are like that, right? Like they stay on top of the teaching game.
Well, I mean, I certainly could go back in the classroom, but at this point, at this juncture, that's not part of my dream. No, I still interact with a lot of kids. I mean, Kenny was a student of mine, and so
was he? That I did not know.
Well, Kenny was a student of mine in Notre Dame, and so I still maintain contact. I have another student, who's a doctor I maintain contact with. There's a young girl who's struggling in her life, and I try and help her out. So there are lots of individuals that I've met through teaching that have become more than friends. I mean, they've become friends, not more than friends, but people who I interact with on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that part of that legacy is that you meet people that you connect with, and hopefully you share the experience of helping each other out.
Yes, and that's a mark of a good teacher. Oprah talks about her first teacher and the teachers who have guided her along the way, and she speaks of them fondly and credits them with making her who she is, which I think is a wonderful testament to teachers. Because we hear a lot about bad teachers, or what we consider bad teachers. We hear a lot about the unfair pay of teachers or the low pay of teachers. I mean, we hear a lot. We rarely hear about enough of the impact that teachers have on young minds that grow into adults who go on to do things.
Babz, bad news sells. We all know that. It should be like your show is. It's good news.
Yes,
it's good news.
It's always good.
It's always good news, and I think there needs to be more outlets for good news, so that you're not hearing about who did what to who, and all the tragedies in our world.
Mm-hmm. And there's quite a bit.
Right.
Quite a bit.
Teaching is good news.
Okay.
Teaching is good.
So the New Haven Scholarship Fund awards ceremony is Sunday.
Sunday.
At
Career High School, and it's going to be at 5 o'clock. There'll be 210 kids. There's probably 2 adults, if not more, for every kid. So there'll be over 700 people there.
Wow.
The mayor will be in attendance. The superintendent will be there.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we invited all the aldermen. I hope some of them will show.
Mm-hmm.
And who else did we invite? We invited all the principals and all the guidance counselors who've helped make this possible.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully some of these people will show up.
I think they will.
I hope
will
so.
show up. But you know what? The most important thing is the kids show up.
Oh, the kids are going to show up, and so is someone, an adult or more than one adult, who's going to appreciate and be grateful for the hard work that this kid has done, and also for the fact that the community realizes their potential and is hopefully pushing that potential forward.
Is this the most, what's the most scholarships you've given out in terms of numbers? Like you said, it's 210 kids?
It's about 230.
Okay.
It usually hovers around between 200 and 240.
That's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids, but it would be better if it was 300 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So the work, there's two directions for the work. One is to involve more kids, and the other one is to get more money.
Mm.
I think if you involve more kids and you don't get more money, then it's less money for each kid.
Yeah.
So I think that my priority is more money, and the guidance counselors and hopefully the community will support the kids in applying, and hopefully we'll have more money for them as time goes on.
And so when these kids get these scholarships, are there restrictions on, I know there's no restriction on where the money can go. Is there any restriction on what they can do with the money?
Well, actually, that's a really good question. because in fact the money doesn't go directly to them. They get 2 letters, one for the fall and one for the spring, that they give to the financial aid office or to the business office. And then the business office, if the kid is fully matriculated, then bills us and we send them the check. So the kid never really sees the money,
Okay.
Which means that they can't misappropriate those funds.
Okay.
Can't use it for a vacation or go down, for
Spring break.
for spring break. No. These go directly to the schools, and I think that's an important point. And I'm glad you brought that out. Besides the fact that every dollar that's donated goes to kids, it's important that the kids that money goes for education. It could go for books. It could go for housing. It could go for tuition. That it's applied to something that is in conjunction with their education.
That's good, because that amount of money can make a huge difference in terms of something, right? To offset something or to take care of something. To,
for sure.
To not have a balance, or to get books, or because books are ridiculously expensive.
Oh no, they could be the actual whole scholarship. It could be $2,000.
Yes.
Right. Or $1,900 in books.
Yes.
For sure. And kids are not
easy.
aware of how much that costs.
Yes. Until they get to the bookstore and like, oh my God, this book is $60. Like, what?
60's cheap.
I know.
60's cheap.
I remember those book buying days, man. Woo! So, well, this is going to be a wonderful day to see these kids get this scholarship, and I know they'll look wonderful, and the parents will be quite proud.
Of course. I mean, this is an earned scholarship. I mean, these kids have really worked hard to get this. They've really battled some significant odds that weren't in their favor. So I'm really happy that this occurs every year. I'm really happy that the New Haven Scholarship Fund has been an organization that has supported kids for the last 60 years. So to me, I'm grateful for it, and I would encourage anybody who is interested in finding out more about us that they do go to the website. There's a great video on there that interviews kids, and they find out that a lot of these kids are first time in their family to get to college, or that,
yes,
that they have 1 or 2 kids in the family and they wouldn't be able to go to college because the financial burden. So I would encourage you to go to newhavenscholarshipfund.org, click on the videos, and take a look at what we do.
Do you send out a thing to all the high school to the schools and say, oh, New Haven Scholarship Fund? You put up a poster in the. Do they still have guidance counselors? When I was a kid,
no, they do.
I don't.
We work very strongly with them. They're the ones who facilitate all the stuff with the interviewing. That the kids go to them, for maybe a recommendation. Certainly, they help them to organize the information that we're requiring for their scholarship.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about the upcoming fundraiser kinds of things. I want to get on the mailing list so I can stay on top of what y'all are doing. I want you to come back, each year to talk about, as long as I'm here, come back and talk about what's going on in the world of the New Haven Scholarship Fund.
Babz, I'm so grateful for you having me on. 1, 2 is for your interest in New Haven Scholarship Fund and finding out that you were a recipient of it and you've done as well as you have in your life. Hopefully we're a small part of that.
Oh, absolutely. That was the first scholarship I got. And I remember being like, whoa, and we had the ceremony in the church downtown.
That's right.
And it was a hot day.
Well, that's it's always a hot day. And the parking, because in fact, parking is
you can't, 1,000 people cannot park downtown.
No, well, they're not all going in separate cars, but yeah. You also have festival down on the green, and so that
yes, so that's, you can't even get over there.
No, so we felt as though career is a much better option for us.
You got parking, you got air conditioning,
you got a speaker system, so
have all the niceties that you need, right?
Then we have a cafeteria, so afterwards people can have refreshments. So yeah, it's all good.
See, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Well, kudos to you and your board.
Well, thank you
for
so much
holding this down and continuing this good work.
We're all grateful to be able to do it. We're all grateful to be able to support the community and hopefully create a more educated and a safer community.
Yes, and God knows that is a big deal. So shout out your website again so people can hear it one more time.
One more time. It's
yes.
newhavenscholarshipfund.org.
Yes.
Go on, check us out.
Yes, go check them out.
Check us out.
Maybe some young people in community who could benefit. So when do you start up again? Like when does the application commitment start up again?
That's in February, but our we break for the summer, and then we start our meeting in September again. But we have a lot of work to do for the 60th anniversary,
Okay.
so we'll probably meet in the summer, which
Okay.
we don't usually do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's it.
That's it. That's a
the
wonderful
story.
thing.
That's the
Thank you
story.
so much, Jeff. It was
Well,
a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Oh my gosh. And thank you, Harry. And thank you, Ken Tulu in California listening in. Ken says you're still very handsome.
Yeah, he's too complimentary.
He's
Thanks,
too-
Ken.
Oh, all right. Thank you all for tuning in for Love Babz Love Talk on 103.5 WNHH. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see y'all.
That was so good.